we're here, and we're gonna be talking about our NBA preseason analysis.
That's not what it's called. It's the season
Season
preview.
previews. The
Season
preseason? You want to
the
analyze the
preseason.
preseason?
Let's analyze the preseason, baby. Who's gonna win in Abu Dhabi?
They're holding it. Wait, they're holding it in Abu Dhabi?
I think the Timberwolves and the Mavs played in Abu Dhabi.
Damn, that's crazy.
Well, the Fakers are playing the Warriors tomorrow, I believe. So
Where are they
I'm gonna
playing?
be there for that.
Already?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in SF or where.
Is it like a real preseason? Is it like is
Yeah,
Steph
it's
gonna
a
be on the
real
court?
preseason. I mean,
Like,
I don't.
is Steph gonna be on the court? That's the question.
Probably not. But
Okay, well,
Yeah,
so
LeBron
nobody's
James
playing- nobody's-
status for
nobody's playing
breaking
anybody.
Sports Illustrated. LeBron James status for Lakers Warriors game. It's the goddamn preseason, bro.
it's LeBron though.
breaking news.
You know how the media loves him.
Yeah, they gotta hype him up. Unbelievable, bro. I cannot believe the LeBron writing. Anyways, we should just do a sole other podcast just for LeBron hate. Just like 30 minutes every day, every week. We just sit there talking about how bad he is. We could like analyze each game of his career. Just one episode, one game a week. And we just analyze and make fun of him. But
One
obviously,
episode per LeBron missed shot.
That'll be unlimited. We never stop. One
right.
episode per LeBron cry. That would be unbelievable. Greatest podcast of all time.
All right. Well, anyways, so
Right, Shepard?
what we're actually going to be discussing today is our NBA season preview, and I was thinking we just start as always in the West. After all, the best conference. Hopefully we all have a list prepared of where we think each team will finish in the standings, and if not, make one up right now. So, because I'm seeing some troubling expressions.
Wait, Wes, do you have a list mate?
No, but I can just make one up, I guess.
When
If
did
we're
we
doing a-
discuss about
If
making
we're doing a
list?
season preview, what else would we be doing?
I thought it would just be like kind of make tiers of like contenders.
Okay, you know what?
you know.
Scrap the list, dude. That's a better idea.
Yeah,
Dude,
because I
what a
remember we did a
dumbass
list
idea.
one time, and then like somebody said that the first seed wouldn't make the play.
Yeah, well,
wouldn't
they
even
flamed
make
out
the
in the
playoffs.
playoffs.
They wouldn't even make
But
the
also,
playoffs.
I was right that was a fraudulent team. So
I feel like making a list
I knew
is
that
kind of
quote
like
was fraudulent the whole
it
time.
makes things tedious. Like, oh, your number 4 is my
Mm.
number 6. What? Like that doesn't really need a discussion, you know?
No, I agree. You know what we should do? We should do like the NBA tier listings. You know what like people do, like the S tier, A tier,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what Wes just suggested.
Like no, I'm okay. Well, that sounded really dumb. I
Wait,
meant
for the
literally
for preseason or the actual season?
for the preseason, bro. Like this, literally like this.
Yeah,
You guys see
yeah.
this? All right, so
Okay.
Ooh,
Look, okay.
Can you guys
let's
see my screen?
let's merge all of our ideas together. Yes, I can. That's
Wes on still come up with the original idea, I think, but
I don't think our audience can see that screen though, so that was pretty
No,
useless.
this one.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making a joke about the Limericky wallpaper.
No, I genuinely was not showing that. I was trying to show this. Okay,
Okay.
so it's a good start.
Okay, everybody.
again,
Let's,
I think what we could do is we could sort them into different tiers, and then like the left is most, it's like the best within that tier. So it's kind of like a specific rankings, but not completely, you know, like
okay. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
because the way I see it is like all S tier teams could beat each other, all A tier teams could beat each other, etc. Tier 5 doesn't really matter. But, you know.
Yeah, tier 5 does not matter. But we're gonna do Western and Eastern differences, right?
I was thinking of that.
So let's do that then. Let me try to find a tier.
We could just like
You could just do it all at once.
Here you go. We got it. All right, great.
There we go.
All right, so let's get started. So
Dude, I know we're gonna fight over which tier all this bullshit goes into.
okay, easy is
We have a discussion.
that's the first. Can we all?
No, come on, let's have an actual.
Are we being serious or
Okay, I was kind of being serious. Go ahead. Why? Okay, fine. Let's start with the
Okay,
Lakers.
I think easiest Denver is in the S tier, defending champions.
Easy.
That's
Oh
easy.
yeah, that is easy. That is easy as well. And they
And
are the
then what
favorites. They
are-
are the favorites to win. So I think we're doing like left to right for
Yeah.
like most. Okay, good. So Denver is the favorites.
So I guess S is like legit contenders. Like they are of the top
Okay.
5 teams overall to possibly win it. So
Yeah. Next, we want to put the Suns in there?
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So we want to do wait, what's going
Ooh.
on? What is going on?
Right, it's your computer.
Yeah, bro. You sure you're a CS major?
What is
going on?
what is
Okay,
going
okay,
on?
here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Okay, here you go. Contenders.
Okay. Contender?
Contenders,
The
yes.
Contenders are the Nuggets. Great.
Okay.
Let's just go in this order. So the Lakers.
I think contenders. I think they're contenders.
I'd put them in playoff team tier.
What do you think,
So-
tiebreaker?
I don't think they're contenders. Okay, unless I'm just having an insanely casual moment. What their main difference between last season and this season is that they got the guy from the Heat. I'm blanking on his name.
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent. They brought back Austin Reeves. LeBron is a year older. Anthony Davis is just as injury prone. And what else? Is there anything else I'm missing that like why do they?
I think they're the deepest or one of the deepest teams in the NBA. I mean, probably aside from Boston, but I think they are one of the deepest teams in the NBA.
I think they're a playoff team. I think they're.
I think they're. Let's just Wes. Your opinion doesn't count on this one. This is Lakers.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I do get your point too, though. Like,
I mean, okay, if you think about it, so where are you about to put the Warriors?
Contenders.
And yet the Lakers got better, and they beat us last year. So.
No, actually,
okay,
the
but
Warriors
this year's a new
got better
team.
because they added CP3, who's going to turn our bench unit into one of the best in the league. Klay Thompson is going to be better than ever. Andrew Wiggins, he's not going to be coming off of a 6 months period of rest, so he's going to be sharper.
That's fair. I think they're all
6
three are
month
contenders.
period of rest. That's so disrespectful to him.
I think all 3 are contenders, in my opinion.
Andrew Wiggins is going to spend the middle part of the season sitting on his couch.
That's true.
I think the Lakers are a playoff team. I would say the Warriors are contenders.
Absolutely.
Actually,
is there any debate?
See what I mean, Hassan? I think they're all contenders.
I actually do see Wes's point, to be honest. But no, I don't genuinely think the Lakers could ever win a ring. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think the Warriors are gonna win the ring either, to be honest.
Oh, they are.
Hassan, I could see a path where either the Nuggets, Lakers, or Warriors could get out of the West. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we're gonna change this obviously, but this is what I genuinely think. I think the Warriors are a deep playoff team. Like, I think we could make it to the second or Western Conference Finals. But I'm gonna be honest. Like, look, we have to unfortunately be objective here. I don't think the Warriors are contenders, to be honest.
Wow, that's crazy. This is gonna be recorded too.
I mean, Hassan, if you think about it, Steph has the ability to outplay.
Steph and Dre are going to be
basically
on the
anyone. Steph could outplay anyone. He could outplay Jokic. He could outplay AD and LeBron, Giannis.
True. I agree with all that.
And if you have on your team, if you have the potential to have the best player in the series, then there's a path to you winning. Like all the Lakers Warriors series, a lot of those games were close, except like Game 6 where we got destroyed.
True. I agree.
So that could have swung either way, I think. And a lot of the Denver Lakers series were very close, even though they got swept. So
it is true. But here's my point though. Curry was the best player on the court in the Lakers Warriors series.
Yeah.
However, we still lost the series because the supporting cast did not show up.
Also,
now
I agree, but I think Wiggins will, like Thomas said, if he doesn't.
No, I agree. I think
season.
Wiggins will play better.
Steph was not the best player on the court that series. It was AD.
No, I think
that is actually
it was 100% AD. He was
it was pretty close, but I think
AD was inconsistent. Steph was more consistent. AD was
maybe been inconsistent as a scorer, but his defensive impact was so unbelievably noticeable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, his defensive impact was insane.
But it was very close.
It was close, but
it was like 1A, 1B. I would say 1A, 1B.
I know
if AD was more consistent offensively.
Fucking LeBron, dude. All-time carry job from AD on that series.
Dude, man, and at least the Nuggets swept him, man. The most sweeps in playoff history. Talk about my GOAT. That's my GOAT right there.
But like what I'm saying is like there was like one possession in that Lakers Warriors series where AD kind of locked up, or not locked up, but like Steph couldn't drive in and AD locked up.
The game winning three that he
forced him into a tough step back three.
Yeah. And that was AD being the best player in the series, swinging that series towards the Lakers. And that was a Lonnie Walker game as well.
Near the end of the first game where Steph went in for a floater and AD completely
Oh,
packed
yeah.
it, and then that was
Yeah,
basically the game. The game swung on that possession. So there were multiple
and
plays I
also
can think of
the
where
Lonnie
AD.
Walker, the Lonnie Walker game.
Oh
If he
yeah,
doesn't get hot, then the Warriors probably win that game because they came back. I'm
Ah,
pretty sure.
damn,
So
dude, I forgot about the Lonnie Walker.
hey
What
man,
happened to bro?
that's the sport of basketball.
I think he
Yeah.
got
Guy gets
traded,
hot at the right time.
but
Oops, I forgot what I should do. So
Oh.
I think, look, dude, my point is this. I think, but okay, so that's true. It was like a 1A, 1B type situation, but the supporting cast is also important. I personally don't think that Klay Thompson, I think Klay Thompson will regress this year. I think he's going to regress. I think Draymond's going to regress.
No
And-
way, dude. Oh, by the
I
way,
don't think Draymond's regressing that
time
much.
for my hot take of the season. Draymond, defensive player of the year favorite this year. Everything's gonna line up. Everything's gonna line up. I'm telling you.
Okay,
Dude.
why do you think so?
All right.
Well, let's not get.
Okay.
It's like a
Wait a
award
second.
preview.
You're right. We're about to get sidetracked. We're about to get sidetracked yourself. I go off on that.
I
Let me
mean,
just put that
it's
out there, and
worth
then
it,
we can
though.
discuss it. If we're trying to do both conferences in this one episode, we should probably
Yeah,
not
we
spend
or we
30
could just
minutes
no. Okay,
discussing
well,
that.
then NBA doesn't start next until like a while, so we could do next week to the Eastern Conference.
All right, this is now officially the Western Conference.
So
tier
this
episode.
started off as a preseason preview. Then it started as a season preview, as a NBA standings, then as a Eastern Western tier list, then a face reveal, and now just a Western.
Okay,
Conference
guys.
face
So
review.
since this is the Western Conference preview, I guess we can spend some time on my take. I've been thinking about this one for a little bit. I was kind of like, thinking like, should I really put it out there? I think I'm going to. Here's my justification. All right, first off, Draymond Green has been in the discussion for like the past 3 years. It's been a very
health
consistent theme.
mainly.
It's been I was about to say, it's been a very consistent theme where towards the beginning of the season, he's clearly in the discussion, and then because he starts missing some games, starts resting a fair amount, he kind of gets removed from the discussion, even though his play on the court suggests he should probably be in like the top 3 or 2. So first off, I don't think it's that insane to say that he's a contender at the bare
Yeah,
minimum.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the Warriors are going to be back to having probably a top 3-2 team defense in the league this year after having a pretty mediocre defense last year. I think the addition of Chris Paul is going to really shore up some issues with the second unit, because after all, Jordan Poole, one of the biggest issues that he was creating was that when he was on the court, our defensive rating was automatically ending up in like the bottom 10 in the league, no matter what, whenever he was on the court. Chris Paul may not be an elite defender at this stage in his career, but that's not going to be an issue with him. He's at least capable of like operating within the structure of a team defense.
Yeah, he's definitely a good defensive facilitator. Even if he doesn't have the same athleticism he once did.
So already, I think because with the award like defensive player of the year, like team defense is always going to matter. Like the best defender on the best or one of the best team defenses in the league always is going to be a contender. And my other thing is just like I'm thinking, who else is really going to step up to win it? Jaren Jackson Jr. last year, like let's face it, like had a great defensive year, but it was not like this is one of the greatest defensive seasons ever year. It was more like, okay, I guess he's the best defensive player in the year right now because there's really nobody else who's rocketing to the top. So I think there's a window there for somebody like Draymond, who has a reputation already as one of the greatest defensive players of all time, to have a little bit of a kind of like a last run comeback season type of thing. If he could get 65 to 70 games in, and the Warriors team defense is top 3, which I think it will be based on their personnel, and the fact they replace Chris Paul with Jordan Poole, I could really see it.
Other way around. Yeah.
Oh,
Replace
yeah,
Jordan
my
Poole with
bad,
Chris
my
Paul.
bad.
Yeah. But I feel like AD, Giannis, Bam, those guys are all going to be in the mix. AD probably won't be healthy, of course.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah, exactly.
Giannis, yeah. I don't know.
Giannis could snag another one. I could see that. Although with Dame playing next to him, I think that
like
defense is going to
Wes made a
suffer.
good point. Like obviously Dre got injured for what 4 to 6 weeks now. I just don't think his body is as youthful as it used to be, and I think that'll cause him some problems. I don't think he'll be able to have that longevity this season to secure that DPOY. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think,
and that's probably the best and most obvious argument against it, and I see that. But
which is my main point. I think that is exactly what's going to happen, because guess what? The DPOY comes second to the chip.
Obviously, I'm just like I was saying. I think after
we
all,
do want to have a high seed, because last season we were like the 7th
it's true
or 6th seed.
True. But
So
to get a high seed, you can't just rest yourself 15, 20 games a season. Sometimes you got to
yeah.
play those regular season games and try to win them.
And also to Thomas's point about replacing Jordan Poole with Chris Paul, our defense was actually pretty solid at home. It's just on the road we were not there, and it's kind of tough to figure out what that's all about, like whether Jordan Poole being gone fixes that or what. But
my theory was last year was always just like, look, like this is a team coming off a championship. They're an old team. They're probably just like whatever. Like they don't have like the fire in their belly that they need to go out on the road and put in the effort that is required to play good defense. Because after all, defense is not maybe primarily, but it is hugely an effort thing. So when you're going on the road it's like a bunch of 30-year-old guys who just came up winning a chip, maybe they're not trying exactly as hard as they are in front of their home crowd. That was my theory all last year. But I think this year that's not true anymore because now they're coming off an embarrassment to the Lakers in the second round. They failed as defending champs. They have something to prove now.
Yeah.
I know Steph has said like I have nothing left to prove, but I don't know. I think
I agree with what you're saying, but I just think that this is all true. The fire, the proving people wrong and stuff. But unfortunately, there's also then the natural system of just aging that God has placed in all of us. So, that's gonna be a problem that's gonna stop them. That they're just gonna get old. They're just gonna get older. And unfortunately, the truth is that they're not 28, they're not 29, they're not 30, they're not 31. Steph is 36.
That's crazy.
That's old. That's old as hell.
Yeah.
Draymond is 33, 34. Klay is 33 or 34. These guys are not going to be the same. And especially Klay. I think he will regress. He will regress. That is what I'm saying. That's like I'm locking that take in. I think he will regress. Unfortunately,
he is coming off his best season as a pro.
Yeah,
exactly. So then I think he will regress. Definitely in best playoffs.
He got better
as well.
He got better at the age of 30. What, 32?
Yeah, that's true. His playoffs are his best in his whole career. Absolutely, it's really true.
Hey, if you want to be
pedantic,
pedantic,
Hassan, you're gonna take like a bad 2 weeks and not look at the entire season he had.
No, I mean, absolutely. Look, for example, prime example.
Shooters are streaky.
We were talking about the Jazz. We're talking about the Jazz. How the regular season they were first seed, then playoffs they dwindled out. All I'm trying to say is, yeah, Klay played well played like Klay in the regular season, and you're talking about the best in his
didn't just play
career.
like Klay. He had the best season of his career.
In what stats and stuff just I believe you. I'm just trying to see what stuff he played the best in.
I mean, if you watch the game, Steph was out a lot, Draymond was out a lot, and yet they still him and Jordan Poole especially looking at the playoffs. Yes, they both fell off a cliff, but Jordan Poole and Klay
won us multiple games with basically isolation scoring and being the first option.
Sure, but
he also averaged most points of his career, averaged pretty much on exactly the same efficiency he's had his whole career.
And even if his efficiency went down a little bit,
I don't think it did.
He was a much better player off the dribble. He could actually make his own shot compared to 2017 through 2019 or whatever when he was more catch and shoot.
Okay, so this wasn't his best stats in his career, by the way. So that was just not true.
Was his best season though?
Under it.
No, it wasn't his best career as well. Season.
His best season though.
His best season was 2016-17.
No, it was this year. I'm sorry. Individually, it was.
I don't know. I mean,
if you watched the Warriors last season for those periods that Steph was out, you would come to the conclusion that it was Klay's best season.
Yeah,
it was his best season because he had just a lot more ball time.
But that's the point. He's clearly added skills that he didn't have when he was 26, 27. And I think that's going to help.
He was much better. He was much better passer off the dribble. Defender. I will give you. He probably did.
They're gonna have him guard fours this year too, which is interesting.
Yeah. But off the dribble, yes, I do.
I think that could be a huge boost, honestly, having him guard the fours. He's clearly doesn't have the speed to keep up with the guys on the perimeter anymore. But
I mean, yeah, but stats wise, which was Thomas was saying that he had the best stats career. That's not true. He just simply did not.
He did have his best season.
Best season.
There was a point at which he was averaging 24.
Best season. For
Son, if you watch the Warriors,
I could agree with that. I could agree with offensively he didn't improve as just a primary ball handler. That I definitely agree with. But defensively he regressed.
He
And
didn't fall off a cliff though. He didn't fall off a cliff. He's just slower than he once was. He's not like he still
true,
gives effort,
true.
which is like
I think
which
the
is
problem is that like the playoffs kind of just like made it seem like wow, he's just not Klay Thompson anymore, which is like I agree. That's just jumping to conclusions.
I mean, he also had a couple good games in the playoffs. It's just like
yeah.
the one that mattered.
Yeah, he
He
just
basically had the worst
disappeared.
playoff game of his career. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
but hey, I
mean,
mean, shooters are
Which kind of
freaky. It's
takes the load off
basketball.
Steph. So.
but okay, so
I'm not gonna.
yeah.
You can't say that he's going to 100% regress because he happened to have the worst game of his career in the
No,
last game of the
I
season.
think he'll regress because of a couple reasons. Uh, one, he's getting older. That's just an unfortunate truth. One, two, his defense has kind of already been at like a constant slow decline, and it's just I think it's just a continued decline. I think offensively he had like I do agree with that take like that take that he has added new things to his bag and stuff like that, and you know, I definitely agree with that. But I think point wise he'll average around the same, and also I think another thing is that our second unit will be led by Chris Paul. So I think like all those ISO plays and stuff that Klay was getting last season, he won't get that as much this season. So that impact he was having last season in like winning us games and stuff, I think it'll be less. So because of that, I think he'll kind of go back to his very traditional role, like that 2016, 2017 type role where he's kind of the catch and shoot.
Okay, so I think then we have just different definitions of what regression is. Because if he stays like the same type of like same health and
Yeah,
everything, but
wait a second.
his role has just changed.
How could
Then
you
that's
No,
not
but
him
that's what I
regressing.
said. But that's
How can you say
no,
he's regressing? You just said he's going to probably average about the same amount of points.
no.
Unless his efficiency is just falling off a cliff, how would he be regressing?
Okay, so again, so I'm saying that so his defense I said will get worse. And I think because of age, simply because of age, and I think his role will be smaller than it was last year. So if last
That's
year
not,
as like as
that's not regression. That's
no, wait.
a
So
Yeah,
rule
that's the
change.
wait, I'm not
regression.
finishing my I didn't even finish my sentence. What I'm saying is because his role will be smaller. So last year with that bigger role, that winning us games, getting ball handler, he averaged 21.9 points, which is less than what he averaged in 2016, 17 as just a pure shooter. So imagine with more ball time, he averaged less than his 2016, 2017, his highest statistical career. So what I'm trying to say is now he's going to be a slightly worse version of himself last year just because of age. And I think because of age and his defensive defense will go down, he's going to average less is what I'm trying to say because he's going to even get less ball time than last year.
Okay, but it's not again. Him averaging less doesn't mean he regressed. That just means his role changed. Steph will be back playing more. Chris Paul will be back playing more. He's still the same player.
But
It's
also,
like same
look,
health and everything.
there's no Jordan Poole to take up isolation possessions and chuck up
Yeah,
shots. So I think I'm not
That's not
sure it's a
working.
guarantee that he's going to get less shots.
I mean, so on one
Jordan
side
Poole
you guys
was
are
a
saying that,
huge.
but on one side you guys are saying he had a lot of ball time, he was closing plays, but then on the flip side, what I'm trying to say, like obviously I watched the matches, so I know what you guys are saying, but what I'm trying to say is, did he have a lot of ball time or did he not have a lot of ball time? What is your guys'?
He had a
He
lot of ball
did.
time when Steph was out. When Steph was back, he was
Okay,
playing more of a
okay.
catch and shoot
So
role.
I'm saying that he won't have that same amount of ball time, and I think he's gonna regress defensively, and even offensively a little bit. I think he's gonna regress. Even like his shooting stuff will regress a little bit just because of age. So
Yeah,
overall,
but
if it's
he had
offense,
his best season last year. He had his best season last year. So like I don't know
I mean,
why you
not
think his.
statistically, not statistically.
Well,
But
okay,
you agreed
first off,
with us that
he
I
had
watching
his
the
agree that
games
he
best.
last
had
year,
the
he
most
had his.
time. I think
He had the best
most time.
2 month stretch of his career from like
Okay,
January to
best
February.
2 month stretch, I could agree with that.
He was averaging like
but to say
29.
best
He's
season,
never done. He's never even touched that before.
fair. But to say best season, I don't agree with that. I don't think he had the best season. A,
It was
statistically,
it was
it's not true.
100% his most
B,
impactful season as a player.
So you agree
All
with
things
us about the eye
considered.
test that he had his best season. I don't know why.
I know. I
If you
actually
watch the games, you can tell.
no. I don't think he had the best season. I don't
Well,
because
then he just.
I just think he had more ball time. I think he had a lot more ball time, and yeah, he picked up new
He
skills. I
wouldn't have
agree
been.
with that. I agree with
It's
that.
100%. There's no way he would have been capable of utilizing the time with the ball that he got in 2016, 2017, the
I
way he
agree
was
with that.
last year. He didn't
For
have
sure.
that
I
skill
agree
set
with that.
at that
No, I
point.
agree with that. But now what I'm saying is this season, he's not going to be really utilizing those skill sets because we have
Okay.
Chris Paul now.
Okay.
So now he's going to go back to what.
So Hassan, I've already said this.
With all
I've
those
already
skill
said this
sets.
before.
Yeah.
I've already said this before. We have different definitions of regression then, because he's not getting worse as a player. His role is just changing. We
So
both
now,
agree his
okay,
role is just
true,
changing.
true,
That's
true,
all
true.
that's
I
happening.
agree with that. But I'm also saying that
So
he will
okay,
regress
Hassan.
offensively. Yeah.
So explain why he's getting worse as a
Sure.
player if
I
he's
think
his role
because
is
of
just
age,
changing.
I think because of age, he will.
But he had his best season last year. So like, why is
But
like
he's still
age?
older. He's still older. He's
Okay.
still getting
but
older.
if-
So by
if
that
turning-
logic,
if-
by that
if
logic,
going from
essentially what
31 to 32 didn't make him worse, why would going from 32 to 33 make him worse?
Okay,
Until
so
we see
by
some,
the, okay,
until
so
we
by
see
this logic,
evidence.
so by this logic, you guys are
We
saying that as a person gets older, if his last season was good, his next season will also be good.
If a
Based
player
on-
gets
yeah,
better the
yeah.
previous season, it's a higher likelihood that
And
they'll
better
be the
than
same or get
when?
better.
Again, I'm talking about stats. Right now, I'm talking about his stats. See, we agree that his role is going to go back to his older role. So now we're comparing his older role, Klay Thompson, to the current Klay Thompson. Now imagine Klay Thompson with a lot more ball time, a lot more ISO possessions and blah, 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 averaged less than his best statistical season in 2016-2017, where he was his traditional Klay Thompson role. And I think he's going to have that same role this season. Again, that traditional catch and shoot,
Yeah,
not
but
as much
catch and
ISO
shoot
ball
attempts
type
are more
player.
efficient.
So
Catch and shoot attempts are way more efficient. So he was having to take isolation. He was having to create an isolation last year. So of course he's going to be
but
averaging
he was
slightly
doing
less
both.
points
He
on
was
slightly
doing
more
both. Like
attempts.
with Steph on the floor, he was a catch and shoot. And when
Absolutely,
Steph was
but you
off,
have to
but he had more ball. That's what I'm trying to. He had
you
more
have to
ball
factor
possession.
in all those games where he was slightly less efficient, but was still having way more impact because he was creating an isolation when nobody else could. That's what made him so valuable last year. That's the value he wasn't adding in 2016 and 2017. Not that he had to, because we had such a beautifully constructed roster and everybody was healthy. But it's obvious he has added skill sets to his game that make him, as a composite player, as a whole player, make him better than he has ever been at any point in his career. Now, I agree that maybe on defense he's going to continue losing a step as he has for the last 3 seasons, but I disagree that somehow those skill sets he's added are going to magically go away over the course of one offseason when he added them over the course of last offseason at the age of like 32.
Like I said, I don't think magically go away, but I think it'll regress a little bit because as you get older, you get slower. Your reaction times decreases. Your fatigue gets higher.
But
You're not as fit when
Hassan,
you're younger.
Hassan, generally that's true. But like until we like for
Yeah,
example, Chris Paul,
you're
Chris Paul
stating the
we've
most-
seen actually regress over
Yeah.
time. Steph, however, has not regressed due to age, and he's like 35 or
But
36.
Steph
and he's
is
at
a huge anomaly. Like it's a huge anomaly. Like that is not a
Hassan,
common thing.
Hassan, he's evidence that age is not always a factor in regression. Chris
KD
Paul's
had one of
is
his
evidence.
best. KD had one of the best seasons of his career at Clay's age, coming off of an Achilles. It is very, very
True,
possible
that
to
is
do
true.
that.
I guess sports science has gone a lot better, and of course, if a player does put time and effort into it, they could prevent steep regression. I do agree with that, but
Okay, but it's not even about that. It's about, do we see evidence that he is regressing? Chris Paul,
Exactly.
you
I mean,
can say yes.
We see it defensively. I mean,
We
also
do
Chris
see it
Paul is
defensively.
38. Chris Paul is also 38, but
Which
I
is
think
Has regressed.
okay. Then I
Like,
guess
even when he was like 35 or like
okay,
when he
but
was in
Klay is
Houston.
33.
yeah. So he's young.
I'm just saying, yeah, I'm just saying.
It's yet more evidence that perhaps being 33 is not a death sentence to your ability to continue being the same
Yeah,
player.
first
Because
of all,
Chris
I
Paul
never said that his
at
offensive ability
33
is
was
going to fall off
essentially
a
as
cliff.
impactful as he's ever been.
But like I want to repeat, I never said that his offensive ability is going to fall off a cliff. I don't think so. But what I am saying is, first of all, I think we all unanimously agree that his defense will regress more. Okay.
Yeah, but they're going to be playing against Force,
And
so
I
they're
think
trying
I
to
guess then
mediate
I'll
impact.
switch up my statement to just tweak it a little bit. I'll say that I think he will have around the same. He'll have a less impactful season just because of his role changing, but I guess statistically he'll have around the same offensive impact statistically. Can we agree on that?
All right.
I guess, yeah. And also, I do like how they added Sarge, which is a little more size, kind of like a minor thing, but they are bigger than last year.
So in conclusion, Warriors probably favorites. We can all agree.
I think
we went from like actually talking about this to Draymond
Yeah,
DPOY to Clay.
Dude, I told you
20 minutes
guys.
on Clay.
no,
let
but
me get into my
that's what's
take.
so awesome about. That's the awesome thing about a podcast. Like what? I mean, all the lame podcasts are the ones that are really rigid in structure. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So we're doing a favor to our audience.
Facts, yeah. Podcasts like this where you spend 2 hours discussing the intricacies of Klay Thompson's decline. That's the best kind of podcast.
Absolutely. I totally agree. But
anyways,
regardless, so I think
let's escape this while we can because we reached a lull in the discussion. Let's just immediately move on to the next team because we will get locked up again.
all
We
right.
do have to get through all these teams within a semi-reasonable amount of time because we've already spent.
We agree. Rockets are D. I thought a lottery team would be the lowest, but I guess they're.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you make a for
you can't get
Rockets?
worse than a lottery team. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I would put Rockets one tier higher than whatever the lowest is.
Honestly, I would put D tier, yeah, because of Van Vliet.
Because
They're
I
gonna be
think
in that awkward
Direction. They have no direction.
I agree, but Wes,
Yeah,
that's the point.
exactly.
Lottery team is a team that is explicitly preparing to tank and be the worst team in the league.
But the problem with this team is that they got like Van Vliet, they got some veterans who like guide.
They
the
have
ropes.
Van Vliet and Brooks.
That's
who
what
are
I'm saying.
probably going to, through the sheer power of being semi-decent players, are going to win them some games that they might not actually want to win.
Van Vliet is an example of what Hassan thinks Klay was, who got ample opportunity but was actually just bad. Klay got ample opportunity and was good. Van Vliet got ample opportunity
You're
and
trying
was
to take us back to
trash.
Klay. He's trying to take us back
I'm
to
just,
Klay.
I'm just
Wes,
making a comparison
Wes,
that
Wes,
looking
don't
at Van
do it.
Vliet's stats. Looking at
I
Van
never
Vliet's
said
stats,
Klay
you
was
would think,
trash. I never said Klay
God.
was trash. We're
No.
back. I mean, we're.
No.
I'm not
No.
I'm not gonna get sucked in. I'm not gonna let it do it. I'm not gonna let it happen. But I never said Klay was trash. Anyways, moving on. I think
Van Vliet is not the veteran mentor that he's like out. Like people
Are you
think
kidding
he
me?
is.
See all those Twitter videos of him and
look, here's the thing about
Jalen
Fred Van
Green
Vliet.
running and stuff and working out. Come on, man.
Fred Van Vliet is not afraid to ISO. He is not going to be stopped from trying to score in isolation.
Throwing away possessions, jacking up shots.
That's the point, is that when Van Vliet happens to have a good game, he's going to get all the opportunity in the world to turn that into a Rockets win when it might not, when maybe they don't really want to be winning that many games. And let's face it, Van Vliet, as frustrating as he can be to watch, and as much as I don't think he's really a positively impactful player, he can win you a couple games. When you add that to the fact that Dylan Brooks is genuinely one of the better perimeter defenders in the league, and they now have him on the roster, there's something there that I think could take them from being like a 18-19 win team who's going to be in contention for the first overall pick to a 26-27 win team who's probably going to be on the outside looking into the lottery.
I agree with that, and that
I do
was
see
exactly
a jump from Jabari Smith. I do see a jump from Jabari Smith actually. So,
and if they give Sengun some minutes, like I'm not really sold on Sengun as like a positive player just because he's so bad in the defensive end, but
their defense is so bad. Like Dylan Brooks is like the only positive defensive player they have, and like
yeah, I know.
Josh Christopher.
It's a weird roster, man. I don't know what they were doing signing Van Vliet and Brooks, but
it's those veteran guidance, baby. It's that.
I don't know a worse team than the Rockets. I don't know a worse team than the Rockets.
But I do agree. I think that was the point of D. Like that's why it was set like this, because D is like the worst position for a team you could be in. Like you're not a lottery team. You're not a play-in team.
Okay.
So what are the Rockets?
The D. They're absolute D.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with what you're saying. They're a team that
they're just like they're in the worst position an NBA team could be in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is that.
Like
now,
what's like a young and fun? Like the Spurs are a young and fun team.
The Pistons.
Well, it's Western Conference preview.
Yeah. Detroit's in there.
Oh wait, sorry. I thought you were talking about just in general, like in the NBA.
Well, I was saying the Spurs are a young and fun team, like what OKC was last year, kind of.
That is true.
Like not quite like actual contenders, but you know.
Yeah.
But we'll get
this
in order, guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to go in the order.
Yeah, I know somebody's like, oh
yeah.
What about the Timberwolves?
Someone's about to get cut off. Hey, how about the Kings? Someone's gonna get cut off from the roster. All right. Anyways, so the Clippers. All right. So I think,
dude, Clippers discourse is the most boring, annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Guys, let's all say it. Oh my God, if they're healthy.
Yeah, if
they're healthy.
If they're healthy, contenders.
Anyways, let's just put them in like playoff and just we can forget about it. Yeah. Like if you guys want to discuss it, you can, but I
don't know.
Honestly, like I'm tempted to put them in like I'm tempted to put them in D tier only because
they're a playoff team.
They are, but it's like with a huge asterisk if they're healthy.
Well, I think the trend is that usually Paul George or Kawhi will be healthy. We just don't know which one. So
yeah, no, they're.
But I feel like they're also in a position. Okay, wait, hear me out. And I'll put them in playoff. I'll put them in playoff. But hear me out. And if I am able to convince you guys, great. It's also because I just hate the Clippers. But hear me out. They are also in a position like where a franchise does not want to be in. They're two superstars who they got in 2020 for the last 3 years. Now this is the fourth season. have not been able to play healthy at all, have not even sniffed the finals. And
they were healthy.
Oh yeah, true. But then wait, 2020 was the bubble year, right?
Remember the Nuggets came back 3-1 twice.
Oh yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah. Bubble.
Yeah, bubble. But that was a bubble. But point is, they are, as a franchise, they're in like a terrible position that you want to be in. Like, do you trade your stars? Do you keep them? Do you just sit another season where they're just sulking away? They're getting older. Their value is decreasing. They're obviously have proven that they're not injury prone. Like, they're just as injury prone. So honestly, I would put them in D, just like as a horrible, like their franchise is in a horrible position.
Nah, not really, because there's still a team with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the roster just can't be in D, because there is, even if it's a 5% chance,
I think the
even
key
if it's a
is on
5%
the
chance
court,
they're
though.
both healthy,
Yeah, I guess
that's a better position than 90% of the franchises in the league.
And usually one of them will be healthy. It's just about which one.
If right now, every season for the Clippers is just a lottery ticket that they're both going to be healthy, and you put together that magic run.
All right, so then are they?
I'm not saying,
are they in the playoffs ahead of the Lakers or not?
You put them behind the Lakers though, just because
both those teams are contenders, but whatever.
Look, for me personally, I only have two teams that I would put as genuine contenders. If I'm being
no, but here's what I think about contenders. Like, if they won the finals, if they won the ring, would I be like kind of surprised? Would I be like, oh wow, or something like that? The Lakers, absolutely. If they won, I'd be like, what the hell? I'd be like, what? They
can't possibly see it.
I genuinely I cannot. Them winning it, no, it would be a surprise to me. 100%.
I mean, if we're doing that, then we're probably gonna end up with 5 teams in the contenders category just for one.
Okay, well, other
than put the Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, and Suns. I don't know, man. I mean, that's
not. I mean,
that feels like you're stretching the boundary of contender.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that too. I think
in my head, contender is like top 5 teams in the league, personally.
Yeah, I mean, then yeah. For me, there are like 2 more teams in the East that go with this list.
Yeah, but like the teams on the East, like for example, like okay, when we get to the East, this a little bit of preview into next week's episode. If it's like, for example, like the Bucks, I have as contenders. I'm trying to. The Celtics, I would honestly have as contenders. So see, that's 2 because I wouldn't be like shocked if they ended up winning because I could see them winning. But the Lakers, I genuinely cannot see them.
Wes, you have the Lakers in the same tier as the Bucks and Celtics?
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting.
Wow.
I do have the Warriors there too, though. I'm not like taking the Warriors out.
But I feel Warriors in the same tier as the Bucks and Celtics? Why?
Yes.
Why?
Dude, the way I think about it is Steph has the potential to outplay Jokic, Giannis, Tatum. He has outplayed Tatum in the finals before. LeBron/AD, whoever ends up being the best player on that team, I could just see him outplaying them. And with Draymond at the defensive front, then yeah, I can see it. They did it in 2022 with largely the same roster, so I don't know.
I mean, I do see your point in logic for sure, but I personally, and I think Thomas and I are kind of more on the same wavelength on this. I just don't see the Warriors, Lakers, Clippers as the same tier as the Nuggets, the Bucks, and like the Celtics. I just don't see them in the same tier. It's like, yeah, they're close. That's why I put the Warriors like as close as possible to like all the way on the left. Because if they were to win out of all these playoff teams, then I could see it. It would be the Warriors. But genuinely the Lakers, I could just not see winning. Like I would bet a large sum of money that they wouldn't win it.
How do you have the Lakers behind the Warriors then? They just beat us and they got better than us.
Nah, they didn't.
No, I think we got better. I think on the offseason we made a lot of good moves. I think we're gonna be better than we were last year.
There's no way you could possibly argue after watching LeBron in the playoffs last year that he's gonna not be an even more reduced version of himself.
Absolutely. LeBron
This is where actually we'll make the argument. Because we saw LeBron play the worst series of his career.
He was gassed. He was literally gassed.
That was over the course of a full series. He was struggling, and he's now 1 year older. The injury concerns are not going to go away. And mind you, that was a minor injury. That was like a foot injury that he was able to play through.
And injuries are applicable to AD too. He's just as injury prone as ever.
Okay, but my thing is, like I said at the beginning, I think the Lakers are not the deepest, but second in deepness behind the Celtics. Yeah. And I don't think.
But it's just all mid though. It's like mid. It's like they have one superstar in Anthony Davis, but then other than that, like LeBron is good, of course.
LeBron is an all-star. Austin Reeves is probably better than Jordan Poole was in our 2022 run. So I could definitely see it. And like they had the defensive personnel. Like Gabe Vincent is a good defender. D'Lo's not a good defender, but you get the point that D'Lo is like a good ball handler. AR is a good ball handler. They can coast through the regular season with LeBron. I don't know if LeBron played that many games last year, but he wouldn't have to play so many games for them to be a top 5 seed, I don't think. And then I could like AD has outplayed Steph in the playoffs. He outplayed JJJ in the playoffs, who's kind of like a good head-to-head component. He did get outplayed by Jokic, but he has beat Jokic before in the 2020 finals or the conference finals.
That was
2020.
nowhere.
So,
That was nothing. That was not the Jokic that exists now,
yeah,
though.
but it still happened.
Okay, let's take this.
I know.
Let's take their starting 5 and our starting 5. So our starting 5 is Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Dre, Saric, right? Oh wait, so Saric doesn't come off the bench?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah,
I think Sarge is more of like a power forward. Like he can play center.
yeah.
but
Sarge coming out the bench.
Okay, great. So
We're-
Looney, compared to the Lakers 5, which is
Austin Reeves, I think, or D'Lo.
probably Gabe
Maybe.
Vincent. Isn't Gabe Vincent starting?
Oh yeah. And then Austin Reeves,
Okay,
LeBron,
Anthony
AD. They have,
Davis, and like
and then they have an actual. What's their actual center? I'm forgetting his name right now. But
Thomas Bryant. Is he still on their team or no? He got
no, he's on the Heat. He's on the Heat. One sec.
Is it Mohamed Bamba?
No, Christian Wood. They got Christian Wood. I forgot about that. That is a huge
Oh,
steal.
I actually forgot
on the
about
What a
that.
joke.
On the minimum.
It's not a steal at all. The only thing that's
On the minimum. Thomas,
he's
come on.
stealing money from them by being on their roster. You talk about a guy who you don't want on the floor in a playoff series. Oh my God, dude! Could you imagine if they were playing Christian Wood?
Thomas,
in
what is
27 minutes in
Christian
the
Wood's
playoff series?
what is Christian Wood's greatest weakness? Probably his defense, right?
His defense, his inability to be anything but
The
a
Lakers are probably one of the
soul-sucking
best
black hole on offense.
on
His
offense.
inefficiency.
Actually. He's very good on offense.
He's
a
not
very
at
good
all. He's
stretch
incredibly
big.
inefficient. He insists on taking up ISO possessions when he's not an efficient isolation scorer.
Well, I'm not saying he'd have to create his own shot. They have plenty of ball handlers on that roster.
He's
D'Lo,
the kind of guy.
AR,
He's
Gabe
the
Vincent.
kind of guy who you have to keep under control. He's like Jordan Poole, where if you put him on the floor, he's an ever-present danger to take the game out of your hands by insisting on taking isolation possessions for himself.
You don't think they have enough ball handlers around them to help him get a good shot? AR, D'Lo.
We've had discussion before about Christian Wood. He was on the Mavs. He was playing with Luka. Basically the best facilitated league.
The Lakers are a much better team. The Lakers are a much better team than the
But
Mavs are.
But it's not about being on a good team. It's about, is he willing mentally to detach himself from the idea that he has to score in isolation? He has not shown that. Every time the team has tried to get him to be a role player, he has failed that test.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a good point, I guess, but I still think I forgot about that. I knew they had signed someone big, and I forgot about that. But
I'm
so
not
80
sold on
their
Christian Wood
starting
as a
five would
positive
be
contributor.
their starting 5 is insanely good, and then we didn't.
No,
even
so that's
talk
what I'm saying.
about-
I would take our starting 5 over theirs, regardless. I would absolutely take our starting 5. You're talking about, so you wouldn't take our starting 5 to theirs. I'm just going one by one. Then we'll tackle their depth too. But our starting 5, you wouldn't take over their starting 5?
I think it's close, and my thing is AD can definitely outplay Steph and just swing that their way. They did it. Like I don't know,
Outplay Steph like defensively.
as a whole.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's two sides to the game. So if
No, I still think Steph could will outplay him offensively, but defensively, yes. But
it's about overall impact.
I agree, but I think the difference this year and last year is that our offensive ability will be different versus it won't be as much spamming ISO ball because we had Poole and we had Curry, so it was like very ISO ball heavy type play.
Oh God, we're back on the Warriors, guys.
But for
move on and do Warriors
guys,
like later. Let's do more teams like actual
please.
other teams. Just keep them where they are right now. Okay, so Clippers fine where they are. Jazz, what do you guys think? I feel like
Jazz,
play in or
play in. Jazz are the definition of a play-in team.
I think we agree with that. The Mavs play in. Are they like they're like a barely playoff team?
Mavs are playing. If they didn't make the playoffs last year with Kyrie and Luka on the roster to close out the season, you can't be like, oh well, but obviously because Kyrie and Luka.
No. I disagree with that because they could be forming chemistry, right? Because he got to their team in the middle of the season. So that is a big drastic change. So you're going to a whole new team, you're adjusting, there's team chemistry thing, there's this and that. I personally think there will be a playoff team.
They're starting Dwight Powell.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
they do also have two of the best offensive players, like one of the best offensive players in the league.
I think I'll agree with this one. We could put them at the edge of playoff.
Barely
team,
playoff
Okay.
team. I think barely.
and they can, and we can change this list. Like they can
It's
be
like
bumped down
here or here. It's like this or here. Like between the edge of play-in to playoff. It's like that border.
Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber front court.
Oh, that's-
Absolutely,
that's
but
true.
then that
screams
but
playoff
that,
team.
that Luka and Kyrie Irving
Think about all the teams in the
duo
West.
as well.
Think about all the teams in the West. There's a
I
lot. to
I
compete
agree,
with.
Thomas. I think we can move this around if things.
Okay,
things
yeah.
come
I
to
I
light.
like I said, it's border. I'm not saying it's strong
Okay,
playoff
wow.
or playing. I think Memphis as well playoff.
But yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
But
to the
ahead
left
of,
of the.
I think they're ahead of the Clippers as well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We just have to use the injury tax to the
Absolutely.
greatest degree regarding
Absolutely.
the Clippers.
I think the Pelicans play-in team.
Yeah, I'm assuming Zion's not healthy.
Because
Probably,
yeah, exactly. Because that's the same thing. The tax.
Zion's health is the biggest X factor probably in the NBA this season. Because I legitimately think they could be up to like a 2 or 3 seed if Zion is healthy. They could be one of the best offenses in the league. He's that.
They were so good like,
He has
without
that
him. Like
much
that BI led team against those
Yep.
Suns. Man,
Yeah.
that was a good series.
But I think that's the problem. I think it's another case of like border play-in playoff type of situation.
Yeah. I would put them in the play-in still.
Yeah. OKC. This is an interesting one. I honestly think playoff.
At least.
I think
at
playoff.
least,
I think playoff.
At least.
Okay, now where in the playoff race? I think they're ahead of the Mavs.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah,
I think they're ahead of the Clippers. They could honestly maybe even be ahead of the.
That would be a good series. Memphis, OKC.
Honestly, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because I freaking love the Thunder. I'm gonna put them ahead of the Grizzlies.
I agree. I love this team. I think it's gonna be good. I think Chet's gonna be.
I think
Like,
like
their
if you're
starting
talking
center
about absolutely, if you're talking about a franchise that has freaking done so well with their picks and stuff, it's the goddamn Thunder. Like holy moly, they have done so well. They have executed this whole thing to a T, and hopefully it gets better from here. I mean, they still got picks. They still got like what, 9th graders, 10th graders that they're gonna pick in like the upcoming years. So
Yeah.
I honestly I have them there. I really like them.
And I feel like-
Blazers. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like next year is the year that Shea takes that superstar lead. Like he already is like kind of a superstar, honestly. But next year, I think they probably will. They're going to make some noise in the playoffs this year, and then I think I'll consider them contenders next year. I believe with one more year of development for all their young guys. So.
I mean, yeah, they're doing great. Okay, now the Trail Blazers. I honestly think play-in. I think play-in. No, I think play-in, dude. They have
What?
DeAndre Ayton. They have what?
Who is a lottery team if not the Blazers?
So this is like
they're the most
OKC 2 years ago. Think about that. That's why.
Yeah,
that's my
This is
case.
the most
for
obvious
lottery.
lottery team in the.
I kind of forgot that they traded Drew Holiday, to be honest, too. I thought they had
Yeah,
Drew and then
Yeah, they got rid of Drew. I mean, they're going to be running out.
True, and they got a lot of picks
Rookie
and stuff.
Scoot.
Yeah,
They're going to be
agree.
running out rookie Scoot. They're pairing him with. Are they going to be putting him, Shaden Sharp, and what's the other guy? Anthony on the court at the same time.
Yeah, that's gonna be ugly.
I mean, that's a
Rockets
recipe.
2.0.
That's a recipe for the worst defense in the league, like bar none. 30th out of 30. Like nobody's worse. So that already is like you're not going to be winning games.
The Rockets, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. I still think I think that's actually why we put the Rockets in D instead of lotteries, because like the Rockets might win just enough games with their weird veteran additions that they
Yeah.
take themselves out of contention for that.
Okay, so I think the Spurs, I would also put them lottery, to be
They're
honest.
lottery, yeah, absolutely.
I
But
want to say play in. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to say play in.
They're lottery.
Just because
I don't think so. I don't think.
I'm
I don't.
not.
They don't have a
just
point
have
guard on the
Wemby.
roster. They literally don't have a point guard on the roster that's serviceable.
The most underrated young players. He's gonna make some noise this season.
Look, Devin Vassell is great.
And they're gonna have a pretty solid defense, I think, for a young team just
Yeah.
because of Wemby. So that's
No,
my
but it's-
case.
They don't have a talented facilitator on the roster. They don't have one. You can't, in my opinion, you just cannot construct a like playoff, even play-in level offense with the facilitating talent they have on that
I
roster.
think the thing with young teams is that usually they're bad because their defense is not good, like the Rockets last year, OKC a few years ago. that trend won't be the same for the Spurs. They're gonna have not gonna be an insane defense, but they're gonna have I think middle of the pack defense, which is play-in. I mean, play-in is like middle of the pack, so I don't know. I mean, that's my case. I think best lottery team is fine, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's like another border case. Like if they somehow click and Greg Popovich could cook up something insane.
Their depth is also
their
depth is
a problem
horrendous.
too. Like yeah. I think people are like Victor. I don't think is like Jesus. You know what I mean? I don't think he's gonna like lead them to the promised lands just like that. So I think he is. I think it's a borderline lottery team. Kings, I would say playoff confidently. But where in the playoff ranking, I would personally
please put them ahead of the Mavericks.
Of
dude.
course,
There's
ahead
no
of the
way.
Mavs,
Thank you.
ahead of the Clippers.
Clippers, I don't know.
I would honestly put them like, it would be like this would be a good series. The Grizzlies and the Kings would be kind of a good series.
I agree.
Yeah. You guys still have.
I mean, they took us to 7 last year. I honestly would put them ahead of the Grizzlies, but I don't want to. If you both think that she's
okay, guys. So I guess I have to say it. What is the argument for having the Thunder over the Kings? Like where are you getting that from?
I think Shea's better than Hawks at this point. Better defender, better.
The Kings that took the Warriors to 7 last year is better than the Thunder that literally flamed out in the play-in.
Flamed out. Wait, who did they lose to in the play-in?
I mean, look. Obviously, I'm not saying I think the Thunder will be a playoff team, but wait a second. I mean, flamed out is flamed out. They lost in the play, and that's obviously a biased way to frame it. But they lost in the play.
They're gonna have Chet back, which is like their defense is going to be much better than it was last year.
Should be, but Chet will also be a rookie who we haven't seen play yet.
Rookie of the year, mind you. He's gonna be.
Dude, the NBA is gonna make it Wemby no matter what he does. Wemby could average 6 and 4.
Dude, actually, that's so true, dude.
Yeah,
but yeah, okay. Then I guess I do see that. Then I would put them like right here.
Yeah. Wes, I know you're so high on them, but
yeah,
I think
Wes, you and I kind of went on a high thing. Like we just went like because we liked them a lot. And
think about it for a second. Shea and Josh Giddey, decent backcourt, but also probably one of the worst shooting backcourts in the league.
That's right.
Jalen Williams, incredible, but
Shea is
still
so
only
good.
like 20 years old. Chet,
Lou
incredible,
Dort.
but Lou Dort, a great defender, but yet again another guy who doesn't provide, like I mean he can shoot, but he does not provide elite spacing. Chet does not provide elite spacing. Jalen Williams, the only guy on the roster who really provides the kind of spacing you expect out of like a playoff caliber offense. They have a lot of playmakers, they have a lot of scorers, but they don't have the spacing. And in my opinion, they probably do not have they have it in them to be like a top 15, maybe top 10 defense if Dort has a great season, if Chet really truly pans out, if Shea takes another leap and Jalen Williams continues to take a leap and Josh Giddey isn't completely unplayable.
Also a solid on ball. Shea's also a solid on ball.
He is solid on ball. So point being though, I don't think their offense is going to be top 10.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a
I think they have the recipe for
brash
maybe
decision from us. Yeah.
Like an 8 to 10 ranked defense and a 10 to 12 ranked offense, and to me that's not like a clear top 4 seed team, which is almost you had them basically as like the 5th seed.
Yeah,
I think having Memphis, Sacramento, and OKC right next to each other is fun.
Yeah, I would have to give the edge to the Kings, who proved that they can not only make the playoffs last year, but hang with a team that was literally the defending champs for 7 games. That's even if I agree that Shea is better than De'Aaron Fox, which I do. I think Shea is already probably an All NBA caliber player, but it does not mean that a completely unproven roster who has no playoff experience is better than a roster that went to 7 games with the defending champs. Especially when there's pretty obvious
I would
weaknesses.
agree with that. No, that's a fair point. I think you convinced me, and I think you've also convinced Wes. Now the Timberwolves, I think it's a play-in team, but they're also like D tier because they have no what is their franchise doing? Respectfully, Cat, what the hell? Horrible leader, and he's good. He's really freaking good, but where are they going with their franchise? Rudy Gobert, oh my god, dude. I just want to put them at D because I hate them, but I think play-in team.
I would put them as the last playoff team. I mean, they did make the playoffs last year. Their roster,
but they were a play-in team though. They were a play-in team last year.
I know, but like,
So that's what like play-in team means. Like, yeah, they could
They
maybe
played-
make the playoff, but they're still a play-in team.
who was it who said they were the most competitive matchup in the playoffs?
Hey, what?
Who
One
was
of
it who
us
said
did.
that they were what?
One of us said that, or
No,
you
no,
heard
no,
that somewhere.
an NBA player.
I know. I think Ant had a very impressive first playoffs against the Memphis Grizzlies
He did.
2 years ago. So he's proven he is like Darren Fox, and that he just turns it up in the playoffs. So
But I mean, they were still a play-in team.
no, they went in a series against the Grizzlies 2 years ago.
No, I'm talking about last year. Last season, they were a play-in team.
But you could blame them not making playoffs on the health of Jaden McDaniels. No, well, they lost in the play-in because of Jaden McDaniels, Gobert. Remember, they had like nobody, like Nas Reed was their starting center. Or no, they didn't have Nas Reed or
Okay, do you guys think like their chemistry issues will be
Gobert.
solved? Because that was because of chemistry issues, right?
Well, also two of their players weren't there. Gobert was suspended. Nas
That's
Reed
what I'm
was
saying.
injured.
Because of chemistry issues. Like, do you think like that like my question branched off from that? Like, I remembered that whole incident, and my question is, do you guys think that chemistry issues and stuff will be solved?
Yeah, Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown said the who played for in case you guys or played for the Nuggets last season,
Yes,
was a role
yes,
player,
yes, yes,
was
yes.
getting minutes, said that the Timberwolves were their
He's
toughest
with the
matchup
Pacers now.
in the playoffs. Yes. I mean, like, obviously it's one comment, but I don't know. I mean, that does make me think, like,
I think that's
the guy who played a playoff
putting
series
too much
against them says
value.
that.
No, I think
There's
I think you're
something there.
overthinking that.
There's
No, I
something there.
disagree with that. I think just
There's
one
something there.
Actually, Thomas, I'll agree with you, Thomas. I don't think he just said that as like a dumb thing to say. I do
Like,
kind of agree.
he
I do
doesn't
see
seem
where
like
he
that
was
kind of
coming
guy.
from.
Like, he
I mean,
doesn't
to be
seem like
fair
the kind
though,
who's, like,
that's
gonna be, like,
compared. That's
shooting off his
compared
mouth.
to. I don't know. I mean, they were still a play-in team. So if you guys think that they're gonna be better than last year,
I think they will. I think because Ant, how could you watch Ant play in the like World Basketball, whatever it's called, Classic Championship, whatever, and not be like, okay, he's clearly going to get at least a little bit better.
I mean, he will. But
Not to mention the
then
fact that Jaden McDaniels is also still young, and he missed that entire series. Like, there's no way you
true,
could say that that's not going to make them at least
true,
a little bit better.
true. Yeah, I
Hey,
would
actually,
agree.
I think I do want to bring up. I think I know where that like kind of quote was coming from and why it made sense to me is that they didn't take them to the most games. Like the Suns took them to 6 games, but like other than those 2 games that they won, they were like bloodbaths. Like the Suns literally got destroyed. And that series against Timberwolves with the Denver Nuggets, a lot of those games were close, and they did win one game. So that's why I do kind of see where he was coming from, where that the Timberwolves were a tough matchup for them. So that's
Yeah,
do kind of agree.
I guess that's fair. I think that was a little bit of a casual take by me. Yeah, I think playoff. I think playoff. But is it border? Are they ahead of the Mavs? Or I think they're before the Mavs.
I think they're the last. I think they're the absolute last in that category.
Yep. Now
well, actually,
this is gonna be
I feel like their
interesting.
defense. I feel like their defense is
Oh,
better than
shoot.
Mavs.
I will say
think
though,
that-
because I'm assuming we're going to put the Suns in contenders.
I was gonna put them like right here. Right.
They're contenders. They're contenders.
I
They
don't
have
think
to
so.
be.
I don't think so.
2v1.
I mean, yeah, sure. 2v1, but I mean, we discussed. That's the beauty of a podcast.
But also, I was pointing out whether you put them in contenders or playoff team, we now have 9 playoff teams.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
How many? So there's 10 total. 1 through 10 is in the first 3 tiers, right? Because contenders, playoff team, play in.
Oh yeah,
team.
okay. Then we're still left with
So-
11 though.
1,
But
2, 3, 4.
I think okay, so I think so far now we can get to the Suns. So as of like contenders, I could put them there. Honestly, I could see it, but my main problem with them is that I don't think they will win. I genuinely don't think so because, yeah, they of course they got Beal, they got KD, they got Booker, offensively elite. However, their defensive problems, which they have always had, have now gotten worse because they got rid of one of their players who was a good defender, DeAndre Ayton. So they've gotten worse
Good
defensively.
defenders being a little bit generous.
No, Aiden is a good rim protector. That absolutely
Eh,
he was.
he-
DeAndre Ayton was a good rim protector.
He was an average rim protector.
Motivation, like all young guys, motivation was a
Motivation
Major
was a huge
issue.
problem for him. Not to mention that really his primary strength as a player was on the offensive end. He was
yeah.
a lob threat and a roller to the basket and a above average offensive rebounder.
But they did add some pieces and I forget. I mean, obviously they got Grayson Allen is part of the trade, but I forget. Pretty sure they added some other guys. Let's see. Grayson Allen. Yes, they had Eric Gordon last year.
I will say though, yeah,
Yusuf
Nurkic is terrifying. That's a terrifying thought, man. Like if I was a Suns fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. What are you doing with him? Why did you do that?
They do have a bunch of wings, which is kind of good to release some of the pressure from. Like they got Utah Watanabe, Grayson Allen,
Who's a truly elite shooter. But again, like
yeah.
they have so much shooting on their roster already.
Josh Okogie, who's a good defender.
Josh Okogie, he's probably gonna be their starter. He's probably their starting four, maybe.
Yeah. So I feel like they're definitely a contender in my eyes just because of the superstar.
Yeah, there's
power.
everything else aside, man. You can't say the team with Beal, Booker, and KD in the starting lineup isn't going to be a contender. I mean, they have the firepower to.
I mean, they have the offensive firepower, but again, I think every good team, every championship contending team has one really good defender, has a defensive anchor, and this team doesn't have that.
Defensive anchor.
Yeah, Nuggets didn't really. Nuggets were relying mostly on the role players to do the dirty work on defense.
That is true.
And Jokic to be a serviceable rim protector. I mean, I still think the Nuggets last year are much better.
But I will say that the Nuggets defensively are still better than the Suns defensively right now. Their role players were doing their roles. They were doing their jobs. They were all putting effort on the defensive end. For this team, it lacks depth, one, which obviously the Nuggets didn't lack. Two, they lack defensive ability.
They have Grayson Allen. They have.
I mean,
they have
their depth is not as bad as it was before the trade.
Eubanks, Eric Gordon, like it's. Yeah, I mean it's definitely role players. It's no denying these are role players.
I mean, personally, I would put them right here, but if you guys are really adamant, I think that is also I guess I wouldn't be insanely surprised if they ended up winning. But I guess my hot take is I don't think they'll win at all. I don't think so. But I think for the sake of majority rule, I think this is pretty fair. I think this is a pretty solid list. The only one thing Thomas and I both. I mean, I think that's one major disagreement in this whole thing. I genuinely think the Warriors are better than the Lakers. Obviously, I think Wes thinks the Lakers are better, and Thomas, you think what? The Warriors are better than the Lakers?
Oh, 100% the Warriors are better.
Okay, good.
I mean, I also I do have another issue that I already mentioned it, but 100% if I was making this list, I would have put the Mavericks in plan. But hey,
yeah.
Sharing your screen, by the way.
Yeah,
are we ending it now? Or?
Yeah. I think that's gonna be the end of that. I think
we have like 12.
We got our
teams
list.
That are. I guess. Yeah.
Wait. I'm confused.
We sorted them out. What
if you look at the list? There's like 12 teams, even though I think there's only supposed to be.
There's 11. Teams. There's 11 teams in a spot where 10 teams should be, but.
Is that what you're saying?
Look, we're trying to. I mean, I understand it, but like.
It's kind of an estimate, I guess. So.
It's an estimate.
Yeah, it's an estimate.
Let's face
exactly, it's an estimate.
Every year, there's more teams that go into the season looking like they could possibly be decent, and there are that end up being decent.
And that's why it's a competitive. That's why it's competitive.
That.
Absolutely, that's why it's competitive. See, but the border cases mean the Warriors could potentially go there, and then these guys could potentially go here. You know what I mean? So it's
let's face it. With the exception of the Rockets and Timberwolves, is there any team in the West who is completely out of contention for being in the play-in? Like, no. So you kind of have to reflect that.
Spurs. You think the Spurs are contenders?
I don't think they're completely out of contention for being in the play-in. Sorry, I shouldn't use the word contention. But it is not impossible that any one of those teams in the West, except for the Rockets and the Blazers, could be in the play-in. And I think our list is representative of that.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid list.